I'd like to open the county government meeting at 5/21/25. I'd like to have up first the department is civil service.
Okay. So civil service currently has a vacancy for one of our positions. And since there's no list for us to hire from, we'd like to bring back our summer help from last year so they could come in and hit the ground running.
I'll move it.
Great. Second. In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take it easy.
Human resources.
You're not.
Thank you. I'm not. I'm here for Michael, but she's not here. So human resources, we're looking to do our authorization for us to establish a standard workday for an appointed and or an elected official.
Move it.
Second.
In favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Wow.
This is gonna be a 10-minute meeting.
Right. Okay, we have planning.
Okay, so my first resolution is authorization to appoint a member to the Environmental Management Council to represent the town of Greenport, Aaron Dwyer.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. And the second is authorization to accept funding from DEC for Climate Smart Communities grant for $60,000. We, like last year, she noticed that we were accepted in end of December, and then just last month, end of last month, received notice to proceed. So we're proceeding with all the paperwork.
I'll make that motion to accept it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Don't go anywhere, Patrice, we'll jump
Okay.
to that,
Oh, okay.
just quick.
Did you see the Climate Smart, the state funded the Climate Smart Initiative, 50 million? I thought it got refunded.
There's
Yeah,
been a
it
lot
was
of
refunded.
flurry of announcements
Yeah.
around money, so, yeah.
There's just one more appointment to that, while Patrice is here, the Ag and Farmland Protection Board, from Cornell Cooperative. It's at the end, sorry,
I'll move it.
Is that the end of this thing or?
the whole packet,
Okay.
yeah.
All
While
in favor?
Patrice was here, if anybody had any questions.
Aye.
Questions, yeah, because we've had a turnover in a while, so that's great.
That's good, yeah.
Okay, just wait a minute. And can we report one? Got a sign you see, Mike.
That one you don't, yeah,
Well, this
yeah,
one.
okay. You're good, thank you.
Okay, now we're up to veterans. Is that historian?
What's that?
Is that historian?
He's not,
Oh, I don't have to read this agenda, do
no, he's not coming.
I?
How was everybody?
Good.
Good to see you, Rachel.
You too.
All right.
My first one is the Flag Day Parade. We wanted to thank Supervisor Ooms for providing the hay wagon for the widows and volunteers to ride on. Number two, my deputy Anelli is resigning from her position. Still in the works of when exactly, but she is resigning. Veteran transportation, we're working on finding what works best for our transportation vehicles, and our per diem driver is working out great. And Nelly,
Do you only have one driver?
we have two,
Okay.
well, three technically. One is on vacation right now before he retires.
Okay.
So we needed a per diem driver so we weren't just left with one.
Right.
It was limited on hours.
I thought you said just one, you had one driver today, and I'm thinking, I thought they had two.
We do have
Yeah,
two,
okay.
because we needed a per diem one to fill when the regular driver couldn't work.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because he's limited on hours he can work. Nellie and I each got a veteran 100% this month. Nellie, it's her first 100% disability rating. She literally skipped into the office and was very happy about
And
that.
now she's leaving.
Right, now she's leaving, so, and I got my second 100% this month.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Very good news on that.
We also have a veteran in Canaan that was just struggling to make ends meet, and with your help has gotten a big back disability.
Oh, yes, I'm fully aware of that one, and they're
Thank you
very
very
happy
much.
about that as well. That is why I do this job.
Right.
Yeah.
He really pulls in out of the fire.
Right, yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome. The food pantry, the widows and volunteers that run the veteran food pantry are walking in the Kinderhook Memorial Day Parade, with one of them giving a speech and one of the widows are doing the reading of Flanders Field. We had a veteran luncheon yesterday. It was made by Marie Benvenuto and the Firemen's Home Auxiliary. It was fresh turkey sandwiches and homemade mac salad. There was probably 35 to 40 veterans there. They love these gatherings, and the volunteers that do the meals love doing that as well. Armed Forces Day, which was May 17th. My husband and I actually, he just accompanied me, but I spoke at Wabika Campground in Copiague, presented a wreath and gave a speech, and we had members from the local VFWs there as well. And it was a really, really good ceremony. That is next.
So,
Thanks for the food on the veterans. They do, the volunteers.
So, yeah,
When did
it's all
they do that?
donated. Well, the turkey is from somebody donated to the pantry.
Mhm.
It was a really big turkey, so Patsy was, she didn't really see anybody taking it because it would be too much for just one veteran or a
Mhm.
couple. So Marie took it and cooked it and then made turkey salad with it. So I did the turkey salad sandwiches.
Here's a question for you. Our food, talking about the food pantries, my food pantry now is way down with the amount of people that come to it anymore. So they've lowered their amount of money that they spend to get the food and stuff like that. Is there any way do you need food that we can do something between the food pantries to,
What we
Oh.
need most is meat.
okay,
We run out of meat and frozen breakfast items. I can reach out to Patsy and see what would be needed. She would know more on a
Okay.
day-to-day basis or week to
yeah,
week.
just let us know because it's amazing that how far it's dropped off.
The same with ours, like we need more veterans to
To come in.
come in and utilize the pantry.
Okay.
And for one, it's a pride thing for veterans.
Oh, I know.
So, but we need more people to come in.
Okay, but it's nothing you can do. Like I asked them, they said, well, because they're down, they only get so much money now to do it, but if they can go back up again, they
Right.
give it away, then they can turn around. So if you need it, somehow we can try to work together if you need more.
Okay,
It's just, let's see what we can do.
all right, Patsy will be in the office tomorrow, so I can
Okay.
chat with her and
All right.
see.
Is there a limitation, like, sometimes you see on Facebook on the community that people are looking for stuff and they can only go to the food pantry like once a month? I don't know if that's true.
Ours is once a week. Always on Tuesdays.
Well, I know the pantries are open, but a person can only go once a month, I guess. That's what this one person was saying on
Ours is
Facebook, and
open 4 times every week.
Yeah.
It's open for the people, so.
it doesn't matter how many times you go.
Well, I think they make sure that you don't get in there. and
Well, that's
just
what I'm
don't go back
saying,
and
like,
grab
is there-
more and more
right.
food. I mean,
I don't
they
know.
get quite a bit of food, so.
Yeah, we don't
We give
limit,
out a lot,
well,
trust me.
to an extent, we limit
Right.
if somebody's taking advantage of it.
Right,
You know, they're
right.
coming in 3 times a week maybe and taking 5 bags or trying to take 5 bags of food at a time.
Right.
Then we do limit it, but really,
Yeah.
we have a lot that we want to just keep moving.
Right.
So,
Especially the frozen meat stuff. Like you said, we just got a freezer full of it.
Right.
It's like you gotta move it.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Later, you can't
Well,
hang
like
on
she
to
said,
it.
they need meat.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Always,
So,
yeah, we always need meat. We have,
Right.
veterans that have donated elk meat, venison, those are very
Yeah.
popular.
Yeah,
But like ground meat and other stuff like that.
yeah.
The meat goes quick.
Okay, we'll see what we can do.
All right, thank you.
See you Monday.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes. Good afternoon. So I have a resolution for your consideration, regarding the Harriet Tubman, Underground Railroad for New York, the New York version, element of it. It's already in existence, the byway in West Virginia, at least, and then through Pennsylvania and going up through New York. It's tracing the trail of the Underground Railroad and an opportunity for education and learning about what the experience was and where people were kept during the course of the process. And there are some places, in 5 of the towns that have already, done resolutions. I understand that there's another one. That's it.
We did ours last week in Stuyvesant, 2 weeks ago now. Good, good.
There's a little map of where,
I can share that with you if you want anything. We sent it into whoever requested it, but
well, they're keeping track of it, because there's.
They are.
does it show up
Yeah,
there?
see, it shows
Okay.
59,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know,
All right.
Are you
Yeah,
looking
the-
for
the-
resolutions from towns through which it passed? or
Right.
from all
Yeah,
towns?
yeah.
Normally, yeah.
And the idea was that a county resolution would, be for everyone else to show its support.
Right.
Yeah, we're doing ours in June.
Great.
Stockport.
And you answered the question that, I think the reason this didn't move last time is because there was some concern about a donation or a fee,
Right.
and that fee is not required.
That's correct.
Yeah.
There's no, in fact, it says in the resolution.
in the resolution we put, this action is revenue
right.
neutral.
It's right there.
Okay,
So you need a motion?
We do indeed.
All right, I'll make it.
Well, thank you.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
All right.
Thank you
Very
very
good.
much.
Good
And that was
presentation.
quick enough.
I know. I warned you.
Yeah,
That's great.
The
Thank you.
engine's still warm out there.
That's okay. Thanks.
Board of Elections, ladies.
This is a resolution to renew a software contract for 2 years for our CLIA account. It's an auditing machine. It's what counts all of our absentees and early vote by mail. There is money left in the tier grant.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carry.
Thank you.
You had,
That's it.
I know, it was
storage.
because I
Yeah, that was
used
a
an
little-
old agenda and I didn't see that down
oh, okay, gotcha.
there. We do realize that we are storing things elsewhere in other places, but we got so much grant money last year that we're trying to buy for the new building, 11 Warren. And now we don't have any place.
Do
to
you
put
lose it
things.
if you don't spend it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, can any of that be stored down there now?
I don't
I
think
don't-
they've even
I
got
don't-
demo.
I don't know anything about that.
Okay. I'll ask for
But yeah,
that.
as soon as there's
Yeah,
clean space, we're willing to.
To move something.
yeah.
It could happen pretty soon, man. We're ready to go to bid on that.
We'll
Okay.
find out.
Thank
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes.
Oh,
And then we just have, a position for the
I didn't know they
county
had
clerk
stickers.
that went through .1. She's looking to abolish one senior motor vehicle cashier examiner position and create and fill one motor vehicle cashier examiner
That is savings.
with a savings of $5,000.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
How are you, sir? Good to see you.
And that's it.
That's it?
That is,
Need a motion to adjourn? Which is a tough one.
Why not?
I'll move it.
Nobody gives me a second, we're sitting right here.
Second.
I gotta take our time and think about this a little
Yeah.
bit. And you got 45 minutes. All right, I'm gonna call the Public Works to order, It's May 21st, believe it or not. Up first, we have Highway, but I hear Tony's on vacation and Chris is not coming, so Ray's gonna handle it. So,
Yeah, so, literally just was provided, the copy, so my apologies, I'll just read through this. Roadside sign maintenance is continued as far as, work dismantling of snow and ice equipment. Although this week it seems
I was
like,
gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. We need it tomorrow night, I don't know. but,
yeah, we may need it up north, who knows? Sweeping the county roads and transfer stations, as well as, sweeping for the villages of Valatia, Kinderhook, and Chatham. Washing the county-owned bridges, roadside and airport mowing continues, cleaning of the blacktop ditches, keep the water flowing, especially during these heavy storms that we've been having. Driveway and culvert installations, hydro seeding along County Route 46 in the town of Stuyvesant, as well as washout repairs that were conducted in the same area. Parking lot repairs at 401 State Street, stump grinding along various county roadways, hot mix patching of the county roads, rock slide cleanup along County Route 15, the town of Tonic, culvert replacement and drainage work along County Route 7, the town of Gallatin, and that's in preparation of redoing that section of roadway. Culvert replacement, draining work, and tree work along 21 in the town of Gov't and Hillsdale. So that's the ongoing work. And in addition to that, they actually took down the Charlie Brown tree in front of the courthouse. If you remember, there's a pine tree that has been there that.
Christmas tree?
Yeah, so that's, so that was taken care of. Personnel, hired one MEO1, 2 MEOs out on extended medical leave, 1 MEO out on workers' comp, and 1 MEO has resigned. So MEOs are
Yep.
continuing.
But we're doing better than we were 2 years ago. So,
New York State passed the budget this year with an additional 100 million in funding
I thought
over
it was
2
50
years.
million.
Well, it's 50 million per year, so 100 million for the 2 years.
Okay, for 2 years. I get it. Okay, all right.
Sounds good.
It's, yeah, I was gonna say.
50 million per
Because
year.
when the state put it out, they
There's
said
no math.
100 million for 2 years, but it's actually 50 million per year.
All right, okay.
And again, so should have, county's chips paved, New York is streaming, recovery, pave our pothole breakdown before the June Public Works meeting, so, Tony will be able to provide.
My understanding, everything was the same except chips was increased. The other ones are all the same.
Yeah, the other one stayed static. That is correct. 5 road foremen attended and completing solutions for safer roads and street workshop presented by Cornell Roadways, which my understanding, they walked away with a lot of good knowledge as far as that goes. So they were very satisfied and happy that they had attended that. So.
Great.
Just on the budget real quick, we got, just so you know, we got a bridge over State Route 22, Harlem Valley Rail Trail, which will bring the rail trail all the way into Hillsdale and then one day up to Chatham. So it's a big, big thing for us. So thank you. Be there, Mr. Lynch.
Where's the bridge going down where the old railroad bridge was?
Yep, exactly. The foundations are still there, and from Hillsdale, almost the foundation is there. So it's just that one connection. People can take a bike on Metro North, get on Wasaic, bike all the way up to Hillsdale, and eat and stay and drink. And
Then you go from there to Philmont, right?
absolutely, that's the next logical stop.
Right.
What's the interruption between Chatham and Philmont somewhere where there's?
The tonic. Parkway's gonna be big.
Parkway is the biggest one.
Yeah,
There's private land there where it goes through the village of Philmont.
Correct.
you know, probably.
Down to the bus, they'd have to go around. But
Okay.
they were talking about putting it through the reservoir,
Ooh.
Yes,
a trail. I
the
heard that.
the original layout called for crossing the reservoir.
Reservoir on that
Interesting.
bridge.
And
Then go down through and then pick up a trail, go back up.
Okay. I think when you get to the Chronic Hills High School, like that shouldn't be too much.
That should be pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, but getting to you is gonna, but you can start.
Well, the
on your
worst
way
part is
south.
they sold part of the land to people up there, from there coming towards Philmont. I know
Sorry, I didn't mean to
people.
hijack
That's
it.
right, no, they'll figure it out.
It's very good news for the entire county. It's a big
Although we did hear
economic.
last night, there might be bringing in a bad element on the pathways that the sheriff's bicycles for, right?
Yep.
Why is everything pink?
any other,
Any other questions for highway? You want to go on to?
if it's okay with the committee,
Sure.
and as long as Brian doesn't.
You just want to read progress?
He's making faces behind you, right?
Yeah. Don't understand.
While you're here.
So for engineering, CTAC met, so Columbia County Transportation Advisory Committee had met with New York State DOT. This was the second meeting that we had in a couple months. And New York State, as well as CTAC, both approved additional funding for the Stuyvesant Falls Bridge and County Route 7 reconstruction through the New York State STIP program. So that was very good news. So that additional funding has now been reflected in their program. And part of that is also extending the timeframes out of when that construction was going to start. So for instance, with County Route 7A, it's anticipated that that work probably wouldn't start until 2026 at this point, which is pushing it out yet one more year. And then the construction or reconstruction of Stuyvesant Falls Bridge will probably be pushed out until 2029. We're still awaiting trying to move forward with the Section 106 process. because New York State has to initiate that, and they're still working with the consultants on a few minor
So we have a
items.
kickoff meeting around the 1st of March, and right now it's May, and, you know,
And
we haven't heard from them, but
And
anyway.
based on what took place as far as the County Route 7A process, where everyone was on board, everyone at the town level, state level, everybody was on board, it still took 24 months for that process to take place. So unfortunately, we'll have to see what takes place during the next
Yeah.
inspection and the ongoing inspections with DOT.
To worry about it come October, for sure.
County Route 7 over the road jam. This is down in the town of Gallatin. So the roadway has officially been closed, and the detours are now open. Project construction has started. The engineering department and contractor, we're working on trying to assist the property owners with reducing damage, because no matter how many signs and message boards we placed along the route as far as the detour, making sure people understood that the road was closed, people still drive right up to the barriers, and they've been turning around on people, literally on people's lawns. So we've put construction fencing up and barrels and different things to try to avoid that. So that'll just continue to be an ongoing thing. Soldier piles have started to be installed, and they're starting the demo work or demolition work on the structure itself. Once that's done, which should be completed at the end of this month, there'll be about a 15-day gap because they can't get into the stream until June 15th, based on the New York State DEC permit, because it is a trout spawning stream. Mill Hill Road, just literally within a mile of this project. Shop drawings for the bearing pads, steel girders, temporary bridge footings have all been approved. We've got favorable information regarding the bearing pad delivery, which should take place at the end of July. So that's actually ahead of schedule. And so the contractors started the installation of the temporary bridge foundation and anticipates the installation of the actual temporary bridge later this month, and it going into the first week of June. New bridge construction estimated is still anticipated to be completed by Thanksgiving. That meaning the bridge will be open, the temporary bridge will probably then be decommissioned during the winter, and then restoration taking place in the spring. Or at least the roadway will be open prior to the winter months. County Route 7 over the Punza Creek. This construction bid were received on the May 16th. So we got a total of 7 bids on the project, and lowest apparent bidder is Upstate Civil at just under $950,000, which is within the original budget that we'd anticipated. The next low bidder was $12,000 higher. So very competitive bidding on that particular project. So that was good news. Upstate Civil is a new company, so we're spending quite a bit of time taking a look at that bid, taking a look at history that they have as far as work that they've completed, ability to complete the work, and also approval from New York State DOT. If all goes well, I would like to request that there be a special meeting prior to the June full board so we can formally award that. I'm not ready to formally award this at this point.
Are they on New York State's contractor list?
Well, New York State DOT actually doesn't have a contractors list. They are on, they are certified based on New York State DOT.
Yeah.
The two, actually 3 principals within the company work for a much larger construction company, and they basically split off.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So we do have
Yeah.
familiarization with New York State DOT and DOT projects.
Good.
We have a special health and human services for the bid on the freezer too.
Oh, on that meeting?
Oh,
Yeah.
And
So that would
also,
work.
you have an OFA special, right?
That's what health and human services.
Oh, might have an
No,
additional
but another
item.
item.
In addition to someone putting a freezer on dirt or something. Close up. Nothing. Let's proceed.
So the engineering department's also working with the highway department to prepare an application to New York State DOT under a new program, which is the Roadway Departure Improvement Program. And that's our project is looking to replace existing guide rail along several county roadways. The total amount of funding to Columbia County as a whole is $357,000, $357,862, and that's countywide. So again, if any municipalities are going to go for any funding, my understanding is that there will be a committee that will score the projects accordingly, much like the Bridge New York projects. So any applications are due before June 13th.
Supervisor Donald just mentioned before the meeting about how the weight of electric vehicles are necessitating more robust guardrail design. Is that
correct?
Are we going to see that with the maybe increased funding because we're going to have to develop more robust?
I doubt that, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, because it has to go.
But there's a change in actual design, right?
There is, yeah. So actually, it hasn't been implemented, but DOT is looking at making stronger crash barriers, stronger guide rail requirements because of the weight of these passenger vehicles. And it goes beyond that, even into building code for parking structures. They're looking to increase the requirements for parking structures as well. So it's an entire trickle.
Yeah, I did hear something about the guardrails. Eventually, the center of gravity is a lot lower too on the EV, vehicles. So.
911 call center, general contractors installing the roofing panels and exterior siding. HVAC, plumbing and electrical contractors have all completed their rough-in. I actually conducted an inspection with the town code enforcement officer yesterday. So he was happy with the progress and had no issues regarding that inspection. Right now, the project is approximately 50% complete, and we still remain on schedule to be completed by mid-September, which would allow about 2.5 weeks for 911 to make their move from their existing location over to the new location with the anticipated, if you would, start off. First part of October. Yeah.
Got a for sale sign on 610 yet?
Not yet.
That's another thing I want to bring up pretty soon, though.
11 Warren. So we met with the departments on April 18th, reviewed 95% construction drawings, incorporated any final comments from them. I received 100% documents from the architect on May 15th and had a follow-up meeting with them to confirm bidding dates. So bids will be available on May 30th, so that'll be next Friday. Bid opening will take place June 8th at 2 p.m. Kelly, I'd like to request to see if this room would be available for that bid opening.
Yeah.
We are also conducting an on-site pre-bid meeting on June, I'm sorry. We're conducting a pre-bid meeting down at the site. And then we'll be able to answer any questions and then put together an addendum. My apologies, I gave you the wrong date. The bid opening is July 8th, not June 8th.
I was gonna say.
July,
Yeah,
exactly.
9 days to.
July 8th.
All right.
July.
And Donnell, my thought is, once we have a contract for 11 Warren Street and we actually kind of have a date as to when that building can be occupied, in this process, we'll know when we're going to be vacating 610, and then we already have a date for 911, so then we can start talking about marketing it with the idea of we would be out of it in X number of days, someday. So
yeah, so
someday we'll get there.
So in addition to local newspaper, BidNet, and Construction Data News, which is normally where we put in bids for our construction projects, we're going to be sending the notice to bidders out to all of the bidders that had actually picked up bids for the 911 center, which were, if I remember correctly, I think there were a total of 30 contractors.
Should get good bidding on that now. I think it's slowed down a little bit.
It has slowed down.
Some of these bigger things.
Yeah. And we are not starting the construction until September, which I know a lot of contractors were a little concerned because a lot of them get involved with schoolwork. So we're going to miss that, high point as far as their construction. Airport. So we submitted an application to the FAA to receive funds for the design of the snow removal equipment building. Design is in the amount of $193,652. 90% of that is FAA funded. 5% at the state DOT level, and then 5,000 from the county.
It's amazing how much cash those guys throw out for projects. I mean, absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Well, and actually, it's a very competitive process, but the county airport, based on the length of its runway, is very attractive.
Yeah.
And once we continue with the master plan, I think that'll reveal, being able to lease areas for future hangar development and business development as well. Working with DEC, Army Corps of Engineers, regarding wetland determinations for the SRE building as well as new hangars. Both the DEC and Army Corps, they want to do a jurisdictional determination on the entire project site. So not just for those two locations, they now want us to take a look at the entire project site. The other part of that is they also want to go back approximately 5 to 10 years and see what approvals were granted as far as disturbances in the past 5 to 10 years, because they want to see if we're going to start hitting any thresholds to start requiring mitigation. So
New regs.
new regulations,
Yeah.
exactly. And that is all driven based on the new regulations that
State, yeah.
the state has put together. Yeah. And we're just working with the FAA regarding the design of the AWAS. Looks like that funding will be coming through in June. And then that means we'll be able to put that out to bid in September or late fall sometime. The highway department completed the installation of the access drive to the water tank, and that was including the tree removal. So now we're waiting for the geotech soil and rock boring to take place, which is supposed to happen in the next few weeks. So total expenses for that project, not including our manpower, was $41,000. We did need to rent a dozer and a rock hammer. However, that being said, the engineer's estimate for that work was at $275,000. And I actually received a quote from Colarusso and Sons in the amount of $300,000 to complete the same work. So quite a bit of savings utilizing our own forces and our equipment, keeping in mind a bulk of this work was done with the excavator that the county had purchased after we had rented it
For a while.
So a very good purchase. By the county on that. So
So you want me to tell Jim you found him $200,000?
and I want to put that into the equipment line.
Right,
So right now, working with the consultant, compiling information to conduct a visual assessment. So that way we can go to the FAA. So that way we're going to do any type of obstacle or obstruction survey. And then once we get that clearance, then we'll be able to go to the town, go through site plan as well as zoning approval for that particular project.
But you'll get the FAA before that.
I want to get the FAA before doing it. Correct. Philmont Nutrition, working with nutrition as well as facilities, put together a specification for a new freezer unit placed at the highway department. So that'll be coming in. We've been receiving some questions on that, which I'll address back to those vendors tomorrow. The solid waste work group held a meeting on the 15th to review short-term recommendations about increasing revenue as well as trying to reduce overall costs. And then a good part of the discussion also was the discussion on the enterprise designation for that particular department. And the work group prepared a recommendation to actually change the fund from an enterprise fund to a garbage fund. Basically, it's become a refuse and garbage fund, similar to other funds within the general budget of the county. Keeping in mind that it would still have its own, it would still be its own separate fund. So accounting wise, all the expenses, all of the revenues would still be accounted for separately. So it's not being combined with another department or anything like that. It'll just have a separate designation as far as that concerned.
Any advantage to such as the switch of designation? And
Well, in part, it hasn't been operating as an enterprise fund for many, many years. Again, enterprise funds are those funds such as a water district, sewer district, in some instances, solid waste, that are self-sufficient, but the county has been, operating the solid waste as a service, quite honestly. Okay, providing at no cost certain services to municipalities and to other entities, governmental entities. And so it really hasn't been operated as an enterprise fund. And so we still are going to have the accounting and the accountability, and we're going to continue to see where we can cut costs and, as far as short term, and then also look at long term, how we're going to deal with the department as a whole once we better identify what the goals are.
If you remember at
as
our
far as
annual
service.
audit review and the auditors scrutinized all this, they flagged that as was one of those things that the enterprise fund wasn't covering its cost and that the county should look at, either changing it to a general fund or doing something different, so that we're taking on that recommendation is how I see it.
Yeah, so a questionnaire was developed. So thank you very much, Supervisor, for putting that questionnaire together for us as far as the work group. And we're going to work through that questionnaire to then see what we can do to provide the services that the supervisors feel are appropriate. And then in addition to that, Wendy and I'll provide information regarding the current operation, and that'll help set some of those long-term goals as far as that work group. And again, as that progresses, we'll continue to work with and provide information to the Public Works Committee. So the first resolution is actual financial resolution that was put together by Jim Bragg. It'll be going to finance, but again, I also want to make sure that it comes through Public Works as well. And this is to change the solid waste fund from an enterprise fund to a special revenue refuse and garbage fund, which will be known as CL.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Next resolution is County Route 9 slope stabilization for professional services. So County Route 9 is located adjacent to the climb kill. The roadway itself sits about 30 feet off of the edge of that water course, and it's been moving on us, and there's obvious signs of settlement that are taking place. But in order to come up with a design of how to relieve and mitigate that issue, I need to be able to conduct soil borings and some soil testing. So I want to be able to engage the services of GPI to conduct a full geotechnical assessment of that.
Second. Yeah, motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed?
Thank you. Next resolution is for the cell tower lease, located at the, property that the county owns, adjacent to the Claverick landfill. And, this is with Crown Atlantic Company. We currently have a lease that is about to expire. That lease only provides for a flat fee on an annual basis. This is a revenue share. So the county would be receiving 50% revenue coming off of rental payments of that tower. This is a very similar lease agreement that we currently have with this company up at the Austerlitz cell tower. So we're mimicking that agreement.
Move it.
This is our table.
Yeah, significant.
Yeah, second.
Yeah.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Great, yeah.
Couldn't we get 60%?
This is a big improvement, though.
Major step forward compared to what we were getting. The next three have to do with the 911 center. The first one is a electrical change order in the amount of $6,200, and this is for additional electrical outlets, data, and also TV monitor locations that were added during this process while we were doing walkthroughs with 911. So it's not that we didn't, miss them. It was as we walked through, we realized that we really, at this point, should add these items to the project. So I'm requesting a change order in the amount of $6,200 to the electrical contractor. Not as many as you think, unfortunately.
Not just 150 an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I'll move it.
Second. Motion and a second, all in favor?
I can tell you, other than this change order, budget wise, the project is going very well. I mean, it's moving along very well. I have not had other change orders. This is the first change order that you've seen.
145 an hour.
Let's see if I can. Oh, okay.
Next resolution is for, the card access system, and this is with, FNS, a vendor that we currently use, for all of our door access systems within the county. So requesting, that we enter into an agreement or allow this, chairman to, enter an agreement with them, in the amount of, 14,000,
Not to exceed 15,000, you got?
not to exceed 15,000, my apologies. Yep.
And you got
63,000.
63.
And then the
Fire
second,
alarm.
right, so that's for the door alarm system, or the door access system. And then this, and the same resolution I prepared was for the fire alarm system, and that's with Davis Technologies out of New City for 63,000. Davis currently has the, fire alarm system that's in the fire training center. And so this is so we can match up both systems to work with each other. And so Davis actually does have other accounts with us within the county as well. So we want to keep it with the same vendor. Otherwise, we may have to go back and then redo fire training center as a whole. So we're trying to avoid that. It is budgeted within the yes. So actually, we've taken it out of the original contract, and we're actually saving money in the amount of about $35,000 by taking it out of the construction contract
Okay.
and putting it to these vendors separate.
Working on second. Motion and second, all in favor?
Any additional questions for me?
One, I would apologize I didn't make last month's meeting. Did you happen to bring up what we talked about the gas tax? Did you run that by?
I did not. No, I was still getting some research. I reached out to Jim Gregg to try to get some information, to see about volume. So that way we can quantify what the dollar amount would look like.
Okay.
So I wanted to have the facts in front of me before I present.
Just to let everybody know, I asked Ray, a discussion that happened many years ago with, his predecessor, Dean Knox, brought up to us at one point or another, the cost of everything, obviously roads, bridges, we just cannot keep up, cannot get enough done. Brought up the possibility of considering a gas tax that would be just like a fund that would go for bridges and roads, a couple cents, 3 cents a gallon, whatever we want to come up with a number, but it would be a designated number that would go right to roads and bridges. And I think it's something we should bring up again and consider. And I asked Ray to try to get some information on it to give us some kind of idea of what it would, equal out to if we did 2 or 3 cents a gallon. But I think it would be a huge boost for what we need, roads and bridges, because we just cannot come up with enough money, especially the budgets get harder and harder, tighter.
And we always cut from them.
And we always cut from that. So
Yeah.
this would be a designated amount that would go right for
Oh,
that.
this is being recorded.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just, wanted to, so he's actually in the process of trying to get some kind of numbers together, to give us some kind of ideas to consider. But I think it's something, again, we need to take a look at it. Years ago, we briefly discussed it, and Ron was here. You remember this?
I do
And I
remember
think
that.
it just got pushed aside. Things are better, but everything's just getting more expensive, the budget's tighter. I think we really need to consider something like that at this point, so.
And Donnell and I were talking earlier too about there is some movement between state and the feds to consider EV tax on those users, because as we use more EV vehicles and we have less fuel, we're not paying into that fund at all. So, statewide, federal wise, a lot of the federal excise tax goes to highway, improvements too. So as we make that shift, there's got to be some way of making it up, and I don't know, but.
So we can't keep, we can't just pile it on the homeowners taxes year after year after year. So this would be something that everybody would pay into, tourists, renters, homeowners, everybody would pay towards this fund. They all use the roads and bridges.
As I
So
say, they all go through the county.
Absolutely.
They're all driving on our
Buy
roads.
gas and away they go.
it's something that really makes sense. And I think, you'll hear a lot of squawk for a couple cents a gallon for the first, few months, but then nobody's gonna know. Nobody's got
the
no,
lowest prices in 20 years.
nobody's gonna know, once it's in place. So.
I'd like to see us get away from prevailing wages on these capital projects as well. I mean, that would save us. I know the
Never gonna
Association of Towns was lobbying.
Yeah.
On the town level, and I don't know.
You keep hearing it talked about, but it ain't gonna fly.
Yeah, it'll never happen.
Killing us.
Yeah. No, I agree, but I just don't ever see that taking place at the state level.
Matter of fact, they're kind of going the other direction with some of, I mean, some of the newer state funding is only if, you can pay a unit.
It's not clear to me why that, I know it is a barrier, but why is it such a barrier?
Oh,
To get away from prevailing wage.
I believe,
We're
union
still being
lobbyists.
recorded right now. so-
Yeah. I think one of the biggest ones are the union lobbyists. I believe that is one of the biggest items.
Fund elections too, yeah.
All right, so hopefully you come up with some kind of.
Yeah, so I hope,
Some kind of
so
information on
by
that to
next
give us
month, I'll have some information
guidance.
to Public Works. Yeah,
Just for us to consider. Thank you.
sure.
Well, even the tire fee that now is mandatory, right? I mean, every time even if you take your tires home with you, you're paying $250, right?
Yeah.
When you get them changed out, even if you're gonna add on top of that instead of at the pump or something, I mean, you're right though, we need help. It's just too expensive.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Up next, we have facilities. I'm sorry, Wendy.
Well, in all
Jogging up
fairness,
here. He was on the list in second.
right,
I don't mind doing that.
in all fairness, he got his agenda in before.
Oh, okay.
Right. Very shocking.
I know.
Good job, good job.
Yeah.
We saved the best for last one. because
Yeah.
Thanks.
She feels all better now. Basically, got out of the snow seed, winterized the blower, started cleaning all the AC units and everything, and starting getting the mowing. As you all know. 320.
Start up the chiller at, NDMV this year.
Yeah, well, we did that maybe last week, I think it was. So I'm just waiting on the samples to come back. Let's see here. 325 amps had the usual swap out of furniture. Let's see here. In the back lot, must have been an old telephone pole, but someone brought to our attention, the old ground rod started to pop up out of the ground, so we cut it and pounded it down. So hopefully
For it to
that'll
pop up next year.
Yeah, right.
it's right there on the border of the alley and the lot. So it's like, I don't even know if it's ours or the city, who knows, it's right there in the seam. So, let's see here. 401, we went up on the roof, started caulking all the caps on the roof to just try to prevent all the damage that keeps happening, I think the water's getting in and just
On the
busting out.
parapet, oh,
Yeah,
on the
like then it
parapet,
gets
yeah.
inside and then blows the bricks out. We're constantly, so we're gonna try that. So let's see what else. The thing we did out here, did the same thing at the courthouse. Repaired it. There was a hole in the roof of on the east side of the courthouse, so we fixed that. So hopefully that's gonna stop the leak. PSB, we had to go in there and paint the control room. Now, we're with the new captain, we're doing some work for him. Had to cover and seed the trench for the camera upgrade. What else we got here? Solid Waste moved the gate post at Livingston to try to stop the people from driving around it. Like I said, up on the hill with the freezer though, we actually disconnected and actually we took the old box and turned it into our snowblower storage. So we took that and the big old panels on. So now we got a building for storage. It wasn't leaking, but we just vented it. So we got a building for storage now. So we repurposed it again. Airport, the weekly airfield maintenance, patch holes in the parking lot, and we had a couple leaky roofs, so we fixed, so that's pretty like regular routine maintenance. We got some good old resolutions now. What's that? The perfect well one. Yeah, I'm seeking authorization to
Move it. But thank you to the individual that's retired. Thank you for your.
Yeah, he was, put 30 years in, so, yeah. So he's
Second, I think we have a motion and a second. All in favor on the first one?
Then this one is authorization to fill 2 vacant part-time labor positions. I have a lot of retirements coming up, and I'm gonna need these positions back to help fill some of the gaps so I can get them replaced. Move it.
Second.
Yeah, motion and a second. All in favor?
Okay, this one is authorization to amend the original agreement with Southworth Milton. That's for the Mount Ida generator we put in last year. All we're doing is extending, we had to do a new contract with them, according to the rep from Southworth. So this is just to amend the same thing, no additional funds, it's staying the same. So actually, we're gonna save 1 PM, one of the maintenance that was last fall, so.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Oh, then this one, this has been like a 3-year project for me trying to get this through. I've been bad luck every time trying to upgrade the benches there. Something would break and I have to take all the money away. So now,
I can go back further than that. I was trying to get this done when we did the courthouse renovations in 2013, 14,
they were trying to do them.
and they got pulled out of the budget because it was too much money, back then. So,
yeah, we
$1,000. Does that include the footings?
No.
no, that's just a bench.
Yeah, I've been on several different, so, and there's 20 benches, 6 of them though, or no, 8 of them are, they're probably 12 foot in length. We're gonna probably, I'm just gonna replace what's there now, and maybe in the future, I may try to just, add on to that slab, but I'm not sure yet. Maybe, I don't know, because right now the problem we're having is they were the old concrete with the, it's like a 2x6 on it, and they're busting apart, and I've got 3 of them missing now. So I'm just slabs sitting there. So I figured now's the time to do it. This way, I'm afraid if I don't order them all together, if they change, then we're gonna have odd, so we did budget for it. So
20 of them. They all showed for over $1,000 a piece, but you're not gonna sell 3,000. How you can do that?
there's a 15%.
Discount.
Yeah, that's why, like I said, they have
He's a
this.
smart
So,
shopper.
oh yeah, we've been yeah, we've been looking for a while now.
Well, I point to a lumberyard.
Makes you smile.
So that makes you add it up.
Need a motion?
Yeah.
You got it.
Motion?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Are they taking those trees down yet to the power lines?
No, I'm actually, we took the one tree down, which I mentioned with the pine tree, which is unrelated to that. I'm actually looking at an alternate power supply coming out of the existing building. So therefore, I'm not going to the national regulated service.
Oh, you make people happy.
I've been waiting now for about 3 weeks to try to get a confirmation and to see what impact that would have as far as our overall funding for the project, making sure that I wasn't going to be detrimental in any way. So, but I've been waiting 3 weeks to try to get a decision from National Grid on that.
Some of those trees actually need attention before
They
need
will
to fall down. Yeah.
The reality is, I'm sorry, so to your point, the reality is even if we don't go forward with the EV chargers, at least one of those trees has to come down and the other one has to be trimmed back dramatically.
The trim, it's just not one. It's.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But the one tree does have to come down because it's in such a poor shape.
That's public safety now.
Correct, it's a liability.
I have one in Philmont the same way. It's on Philmont's property. It's right next to our courthouse and the limbs go over our courthouse. So we said, we'll take it, it's dead, completely dead.
Mhm.
I'll take the thing down. Oh, no, can't touch that tree, the people want to keep it up there. I go, but it's gonna fall. Falls in our building, we're gonna sue you because. I know. And now it's gonna wreck our building, you're gonna pay for it, bottom line. You know, so now they're thinking otherwise. Jesus.
Well, I know
If it wasn't dead, I understand.
Hudson came out with a plan they were gonna try to do, but I think it's like dead in the water right now. I still gotta, because they were supposed to go through, they had an arborist lined up to go through and pin it and, like do like a replacement, if they took something away, they had, but I think, I don't know, I haven't heard, I'll have to reach out, and see if that's still available. Because that was one of the options. That's what we were saying. All right, we'll wait to see what happens and include us in on it too, because we're in the city. So, they were gonna like plot every tree and then designate which ones should get removed. So I haven't heard much after that. That's about a year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, still bring out the perspective, Bill.
Oh, yeah.
Let them babies fall.
Yeah.
Right. All right, there's no other questions for Brian. We'll move on to solid waste.
Thanks. Hi.
I just want to do a quick clarification on the Livingston Gate. Although most of the time we do ask facilities to move gates because residents are driving around them. This particular gate, we asked for them to move because my drivers were having a safety issue. Their truck wasn't able to pull in all the way when the station was closed. So the back end was a little bit out on the road. And when they go to change out containers, when the station's not open, they have to get out of the truck to unlock the gate. So
they were parking the road.
Just wanted to clarify. Yeah, well, just the tail end a little bit, but still not safe. So just a little clarification on that. We've been booked on weekends with town cleanup days. A quick reminder that we're only having one household hazardous waste this year. It'll be Saturday, September 13th. Normally we have one in the spring and one in the fall. We've gotten a ton of phone calls. So just a heads up, just remember September 13th. I think maybe we'll probably make a little bit, some flyers. We'll get them laminated and send them, maybe bring them or send them out to the clerks next week or something. I have a waste reduction policy that Jim from the controller's office looked at. It had an environmental purchasing policy part into it that they didn't really like. So we're probably going to pull that out.
To pass out burn barrels at the hazardous waste collection day.
So they didn't like my EPP, so I think we're gonna pull that and just make it a waste reduction policy. I need this for our local solid waste management plan. We needed to do this 2 years ago. We're a little behind on this, so stay tuned for that next month.
Okay.
Greenport's transportation scale was supposed to be calibrated on Wednesday, May 14th. They needed to reschedule due to equipment issues. A new date has been determined. We figured it out this morning. It will be on Wednesday, June 4th. I did send out notification to all the clerks to kind of spread the word to highway departments if they use the scale. And we hand out flyers at the scale for that. In anticipation of when we thought they were coming in May, we did do the pressure washing underneath the scale. So we basically removed all the debris that was under the scale. We'll do this again in the fall before our weights and measures comes for the second we do it. Calibration in the spring and then weights and measures certifies it in the fall. So we'll do that and hopefully that will fix potential scale freezing issues that we had this past winter.
We go back to having one winter like we had the year before. You wasn't worried about that.
There was a lot of debris. I mean, we removed a lot of debris in the winter when the scale wasn't working, but when we removed the plates and did it.
Yeah, you said it was pretty.
It was, and it was nice and clean. I think at some point, probably in the fall, we will also paint the sides again.
Okay.
Make them a little bit cleaner. Just FYI, I'm down 4 part-time laborers at the moment, and I am down 1 full-time position. I'm kind of putting that out there because the summer is coming up, and July 5th is a Saturday. So some of my stations might be a little short-staffed. So in case you hear any reasons why we're a little short-staffed. Solid Waste Review Group, as Ray had mentioned, did meet on the 15th. I have one resolution because he did the other, which will be forthcoming in a minute, but I have a fun fact. It's a little fluff piece. So
We need some fun.
you might not have been aware that I did work the solid waste department in the 90s. I worked here from like 93 until just shy of 96, so a few
That you
years.
missed it so much, you came back.
Yeah, full circle, man. It was like full circle, right?
No, Jolene said, I liked her. We're real red.
We are doing some cleaning house, in anticipation of the shredding day coming up at the end of the month. And I found some really cool things. And one of them was boxes of old solid waste committee meeting notes. And I know, funny, but one of them was from October 21st of 1993. And I had just come back from the fifth annual recycling conference that was held in Syracuse.
Were you presented about a digester?
No, but listen to what I talked about though, because it's pretty full circle. And this is, and thank you for approving my resolution request for the EPR. So this was, I talked about reduce, reuse, and recycle. And the main focus of my workshops were free disposal for towns and villages, and whether those are pros or cons, which is funny. And I also discussed the packaging of goods, and I was stating that many companies use excessive packaging and need to reduce wasted material.
You were way ahead of your time, right?
Yeah.
It only took 30
I am
years.
a broken record all the time, but I have proof that.
But it's not an exercise in futility. You do a great job.
I was like, look at, I feel like I'm always saying the same thing, but really we were, and Germany was reusing shipping packages to decrease their disposal costs back in 1993. So, a little fun fact for you.
And New York is finally starting to catch up with you now, you know?
Slow and steady, right? Slow and
New York
steady.
State Legislature is starting to think about it now. But.
And Dream Lover by Mariah Carey was the #1 song.
Okay.
It was filmed,
Yeah, really?
the video was filmed in a
Oh, is that
field
in
in
her home?
Hillsdale.
Yes, yes. Okay, look at that.
More trivia.
It brings full circle, huh?
Well,
Lucky fun
Supervisor,
fact.
is everyone familiar with your karaoke talent?
No, well, I hope you would be.
That
I
might
hope
have to
it's
be
on the
your next
internet
selection.
somewhere. I hope you were filming. Sorry.
No,
Lucky
that
fun fact.
was a good fun fact.
Yeah.
And I do want to let you know that we have been working on mowing the stations this week in between the rain. And that is our last month's numbers. And then the resolution. So the work group is in the process of reviewing ways to increase our efficiency and reflect what services we're giving, whether we should be not giving those services anymore. And so this was a recommendation through the work group. It's requesting authorization for the solid waste division to update its policies associated with municipal users as follows. So 1, all municipal cleanup days shall follow the residential roll-off fee schedule with an addition of overtime costs to cover the driver for the weekend overtime. 2 would be eliminating the free disposal that is currently allotted for each municipality. 3 is for waste disposal. All municipalities would be responsible for purchasing Columbia County solid waste garbage bags or utilizing the Greenport transfer station scale if they're planning to utilize the county for waste disposal. 4, the municipality tip fee would be set at the residential rate unless associated with a separate contract or negotiated agreement.
Does that
5,
include the cleanup days? I'm sorry to interrupt.
what's that?
Does that include the cleanup days?
What's that? Which
The
one?
residential rate for
The resident, yes.
Okay.
5 would be update the Columbia County Agricultural Society past practice to eliminate the free disposal. They currently receive $2,000 in free disposal. And 6, update the Columbia County Agricultural Society past practice of discounted pricing and to allow a negotiation of a more standardized disposal fee.
Move it.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
And speaking on behalf of that committee, Wendy has, but, you know, we have had some robust discussions, Ray, you missed the other day, you know, but, we did have a very productive, meeting and, you know, a lot of this is, I know that in the town of Stuyvesant, we do trash cleanup and it's great to have the county there. Even at the increased cost, I'm sure that the town of Stuyvesant would still enjoy doing it. Our residents still are getting a good service, if we have to pay a little bit more. But when you look at it, you know, Wendy was hauling a 50-yard container from here up to Stuyvesant for us for $75 or something. That's a cost loser, you know. And we're looking at solid waste overall. I think that all of us, speaking for myself, I'd like to keep solid waste. I'd like to see the department stay, but I want to see it come a little closer to breaking even, you know. So these are some of the little things that we can do to capture some of that, and I think the towns can't afford to do it, you know. So.
Can I ask a little extra paperwork though for when we budget for next year, the towns, can you send us what our fee would have been from, let's
Yes.
say, this year? And
Actually, she did some of that for the
Well, that was
committee.
for last year, so
Well,
I'll work
yeah.
on I
When you
will,
have time, I think it would help out.
I will work on those numbers Friday, if that's okay,
Oh,
and
yeah,
send
sure.
it out to you on Friday.
And as you see, we're doing this for next year, so all of us in the towns have an opportunity to plan for it in our 26 budgets. You know,
Yes.
we're not doing anything this year, so.
No, and we had ours on Saturday. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Shannon was a great communicator, as we prepared for that. And, the town of Chatham will continue.
Yeah.
Despite the pay increase, for sure. I have a full trailer or e-waste. Can I do you want me to schedule with Shannon?
Do we have all in favor on that one?
Yes.
We did that?
Um,
I didn't sign it, I got talking.
yeah, they'll need to, schedule it with us just so that we can help unload
Maybe
it.
Friday morning or something.
Okay. Yeah,
We did a 16-foot trailer. Totally.
okay.
And I forgot to count the mattresses that day. We were
Fine.
scrambling. It was like,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we had a very, very busy day. We had a whole lot more than I had. I got the tonnage now, but it was a lot more tonnage, you know, like 40% increase over last year's, you know. I don't know where all the stuff came from.
yeah, we did it.
And we go through a very strict thing about making sure people
I
have.
haven't looked at the town of Chatham's,
I think we came in below 3 each the last couple of years. This time we came in slightly below 4 for
Okay.
like 50 yards. It's good. It's great.
I think I did 8 or 9 50-yard
Yeah.
containers.
Really?
Yeah.
I had
They
to
brought it
show
from
up and
Chatham.
show
I think
up
that's
with
what
a-
they did, you
A
know.
vacuum, and they apologized. We cleaned everything out last year, but we still wanted to come. I was like, okay, great. But eight, dumps.
Yeah. And it rained all day too. I remember it was, you know, we got some horrific rain that day too. Is there any other, I got 2 other resolutions here, or no, 1 other, but, if there's any other questions for Wendy. So I have a use, for the gazebo at the courthouse, request for Saturday, June 28th for Paul Krebs, who's getting married there. Would like to get married there.
I'll move it.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
All right.
This is just Kelly. Should we pay Kelly for being here? I don't know.
Volunteer my time. He's a-
I mean, how does that work? Because you got a building. How does that work?
What do you mean?
Well, let's say, don't build it from.
Well, that's-
Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?